Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Friday Lunch. My name is Tina Holland, and today is February 4th, 2022, and we are going to talk about epic fails, specifically mine, and what I'm going to do to fix them. So, I probably did okay this last year in the sense that I took off around the holidays, kind of between Thanksgiving and the New Year. I tend to try and keep my projects low. I apologize for the dog barking in the background. Welcome to live YouTube. But one of the things is I usually take that time period off just because I know I'm going to be really busy. I ended up not being as busy, so I did get some things done. And then the new year hit, and I set these, I don't know if they were lofty goals, but they were goals that I had set for myself so that I would be able to go ahead and get these projects done because I have a fairly ambitious year ahead of me. Well, guess what? Set lofty goals and you end up with epic fail. So, what did I fail at? Well, I didn't finish my book Wind Resistant that I want to turn into my publisher at Book Boutiques. I wanted to go ahead and get that done. It's got like 3 scenes left. And for whatever reason, I just didn't finish it. I think I was so focused on other things. I had just gotten this new contract and I was hoping to get those things done and out of the way before I worked on it. I don't know why I didn't finish it. I had planned on finishing it the first week in January, and I just didn't for whatever reason. And I think part of it is I think I kind of hit a little bit of a depression. And so I didn't get the things done that I wanted to get done. I also wanted to start my second book that is going to go with Magnolia Publishing, or Magnolia Blossom Publishing bought my Regency, The Widow Spy. And so the second book in that series is My Fair Lord. And I have it outlined. And by outlined, I mean I have like little scratchy notes of things that I want to write. It's not even formally outlined yet. And I had meant to start that, and I haven't. I got back the edits for my book and I had started working through those. And then I kind of hit this like slump where I just didn't really want to work on anything else. And I was struggling to get the editing portion done as well. So I think one of the things is I need to kind of go back and look and see, well, what's working, what's not. But besides these 2 things, which are totally writing related to me, I fell behind on projects and obligations that I had to, writing groups and those sorts of things. And I think a lot of it has to do with depression because we hit the new year. And I said this, I think, in my last video where I haven't really grieved my parents, and they both passed away in 2020 and 2021, respectively. My mom passed away in November of 2020, and my dad passed away in March of 2021. And so we're kind of coming up now on the time frame where I was notified my dad was in hospice and that he would had like 6 months, basically. I was hoping he'd make it through till July, and he ended up passing around his birthday in March. And I think that those things contributed to kind of this depression. Another thing, this is so silly, but I was telling my writing group, I haven't really mourned my parents, but oh my God, when Betty White died, I like lost my shit. Every time I couldn't even say her name without crying. And I don't know what it was, but I feel like I took everything that had happened to me and bundled it up, and that was my outlet, was Betty White passing. And so I had ended up just being very emotional about Betty White's passing. And I think that it was because I wasn't emotional about my own parents passing. When my mom passed, I was trying to get things, help my dad clear up her estate and those sorts of things. And then when my dad passed, it was just twofold. And I had a house I had to clean out, and I had a house I had to sell, and I had other properties and bank account. I mean, there's just a mess of stuff that I had to take care of. So I am one of those people that when I'm in crisis, I deal with the crisis, and then afterwards I'll deal with the crying. I may get up and open this door in a minute. I hear my older dog coming in, and he may want to, if he headbutts the door, I'll let him in. But my husband's downstairs watching TV, so I was trying to keep it kind of quiet. But anyway, so those are the kind of the things that I just didn't do very well when I was trying to get things accomplished. And some of the things that I had set for goals, I'm still on track to finish them. Like I'm still on track to finish this book. I'd like to get this one done mid-March, and I'm still on track to do that. I don't have the word count is going to be around 50,000, so it's not a lot of words. But how do I go forward? How do I go forward and fix these things? You know, that's the thing. How do we go forward and fix these things? So one of the things I've done is I've been seeking out encouragement, and not in a sense that's like, oh, tell me I'm a good person or anything like that. But I've been going out and I've been watching podcasts and YouTube videos and reading blogs about people that have failed or people that are increasing their productivity and things around depression and how to manage that. And one of the ones that I'll link it below. One of the ones I've been listening to very frequently is called Six Figure Authors, and it's a YouTube. There's a YouTube channel and it's a podcast, and so there's been a number of people talking on that program, and I've been listening to that pretty frequently. And I find it encouraging to say, oh, you know what? I did fail. I can do these things. I just need to figure out what's going to work best for me. So some of the things that will work for me are going to be to set small goals and build up from there. So in the month of December, and I've said this every year, I'll take kind of a time off or whatever between November and December. And one of the things that I will do is I will write 200 words a day. That's my goal. I don't do anything beyond that. And part of the reason is because the entire publishing industry, not indie authors, but traditional publishing, which is the market that I tend to kind of submit in. Right now, I'm at 2 houses. I don't have anything out in the world, so I won't be doing any querying or anything like that. But the traditional publishing houses tend to take time off between Thanksgiving and the New Year. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's just like the whole time frame, but they do tend to kind of slow down. And so historically, at least the last 3 years, I've gone ahead and said, I'm going to slow down during this time frame as well, just because I anticipate that I'm going to be busy. I did do that in December of this last year. I went ahead and I kind of took that time off. I enjoyed my time with family and friends, and by friends, I mean online, but I participated in a lot of stuff there. And I did still run behind on things. Like I'm behind on doing some my own newsletter, plus a newsletter that I do for one of the writing groups. I've been behind on turning in blog posts, and I kind of knew that going in. And so maybe when I had set my goals at the outside, I should have remembered that I always set small goals and then build up. So I'll write 200 words a day. Then next week, I'll try and increase it and increase it and increase it. And if I get more than that, great. If not, at least I've accomplished that. But I think I can still get this book done. I may have to have a couple of like full days of writing, which I'll do to myself when I kind of have myself on deadline. I did that with the editing portion of The Widow Spy. Is that I had kind of gone through it, but I did most of the bulk of the editing in like one day, where I just read through it. And if I can sit down and focus and don't have any distractions, then that works out pretty well for me. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to join some more write-ins. There are YouTube write-ins. My own writing group has, my local critique group has a write-in that we do every week, every other week. We meet the second and fourth Mondays. And so we'll do critiques and then we'll do a writing section. So I think I'm going to see if I can find some more of those to participate in. For whatever reason, that seems to help me with my word count, even if it's a recorded one. Like YouTube has a ton of recorded write-ins, and I will watch those. And I even find those help me get my word count, even though I wasn't actually sitting there. The day that I was doing my editing, I sat in on a write-in. I was editing, but Courtney Young, who does the Courtney Project, that's her channel on YouTube, I sat in on hers, and I wrote, what did I write? I edited The Widow Spy, and I wrote like 523 new words, which was good because I had edited out a lot of words too, just to kind of make things streamlined. So by the time the day was over, I think I finally finished it at midnight, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. I did a once over before I ran ahead and turned it into my editor again, but it's just like, oh, I'm done with it. So, but all these things like the build up, the seek out encouragement, and then the write-ins is all to create consistency for me. So when I create a consistent schedule, a writing schedule, whether it's every day, whether it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, whether it's just the weekend, whether it's after 10, whether it's before noon, whatever, when I create a consistency to my schedule, then I seem to find that the words come easier. It takes me less time to get into the story. It takes me less time to settle in and do other projects related to writing, like newsletters, blog posts, those other things that I love to do, but do take away from writing time. But if I go ahead and I create consistency where I'm doing this thing at this time and this, whatever, I like that. I've always liked that. Even when I worked my corporate job, I like to have consistency to my schedule. And I think one of the things about the holidays is there is no consistency, which is one of the reasons I've always taken the 200 words and said, that's my goal for the day, plus my journaling. And that's all I need to do, because there's no consistency. There's all these activities going on. You're visiting family. Weather can be a factor. We did have some horrible, horrible weather here the month of January. I mean, we ended up with, I think it snowed every 3 days. And so as a matter of fact, just yesterday, my husband and I had gone to town we went to the gym and ran a couple of errands, and we had parked our car out on the straight part of my driveway because it's too deep, and we're literally sledding stuff in, like our groceries and stuff. It sounds so out there wilderness, but it's just the snow piles up and our tractor's broken. So we just parked the car out there and we sled everything in. My uncle came and blew us out yesterday, so we'll be able to drive the car up and then drive it back out again or whatever. So, but there's just been so much drama. That's not the right word. That's not quite the one I'm looking for, but there's been so many activities not writing related going on where I'm at. Like weather kind of tends to be a big deal in the Midwest, because it's like, oh, am I going to have power? Is that going to stay on? Is my heat going to keep going? Our heat went out like on the really cold day, not like bad, but like the pilot light went out on the furnace, because I told my husband, I'm like, it's 62 degrees in here and we're dropping temperatures. And goes down. He's like, oh, no, it's fine. I got the pilot light going again. Okay. So we're fine. But there's things like that that just happen that kind of break up the writing pattern. I seem to write best, and you wouldn't think so, in the middle of the summer. When we're in spray season, I do my best writing. And I think part of it is because when we're working, there's this consistency around the schedule. The other thing is that I love my husband dearly, but him being home makes me want to spend time with him. And then I'm not writing. I'm doing things with him. Like we're hanging out, watching movies, we're binging television shows, we're doing everything but me not writing. And so I think one of the things is once we hit summer and he's kind of off doing projects and getting us ready for the season, like in the spring. And he also has, like this month here, he has a convention that he's going to be going to. So he'll be gone for 3 days. So I'm like, I'm going to writing retreat that and treat it as a writing retreat. And I have I'll link some stuff below on writing retreats. I've done, I don't know how many blog posts, and I think even a couple of YouTube videos that I'll link below if you're interested in that. So those are just kind of the things that I need to do. I need to create consistency in my own environment in order to produce work. So that's always the way it's kind of been. And it's probably the way it's going to stay for a long time. So I see that we have a few people with us. If anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and put them below, or I think it's below or off to the side, depending on where it is on your screen. So, but yeah, that's kind of the plan that I've got, is to basically do write-ins, do and my 200 words, make sure that I get those done, do my journaling, and then hopefully everything will just fall into place. So, and I think I'm probably going to end up going back to working some later nights, since right now we seem to be fairly active around here during the day, and it doesn't seem to quiet down until the evening hours. We're doing some I think we're going to be busy up until basically tax season. So, because we're kind of trying to get some stuff lined out with our taxes and we may switch banks for our business and some other stuff. So there are some things that I've just got to get done that way. So I don't, oh, okay. Oh, so Carolyn wants to know what is involved with in a write-in. So a write-in is either where a group of people, writers, will get together and they'll write. They basically sit down and work on their laptops, their notebooks, whatever. So there's in-person write-ins, which you will see a ton of those around National Novel Writing Month, which is the month of November. And then online, there are like if you were to Google in your YouTube screen write-ins, like author write-ins or something like that, it's basically someone like me saying, I'm going to write, and I'll be writing online and then inviting other people to write too. And then you write for so many minutes, like usually the most popular is the Pomodoro method, where it's 25 minutes, you write, 5-minute break, 25 minutes. And that can be with anything, doing chores, doing whatever. The Pomodoro method is the most common one that I've seen writers use. And so what they'll do is you're basically getting together as a group. And sometimes there will be multiple writers doing a live stream like this, or they're in-person meetings. But I've also seen them on Facebook, and basically anywhere there's a video, they will go ahead and do that. So that's basically what a write-in is. You could set your own. I know a number of authors just where they kind of do sprints or they're also called writing sprints, where authors will do solo writing sprints all by themselves. Like they're not recording it, they're not taping it, they're not doing any of those sorts of things. They're just doing it. And then most often they'll do that 25 minutes on and then 5-minute break and then 25 minutes again. So, or whatever they're doing. But there are a number of those online. So the other thing is Carolyn and I are in the same craft group. Sometimes I will use that as a write-in period where I will go ahead and write while people are doing crafts and talking. And it's a pretty significant group, about 6 to 8 people most times that we meet. And then I'll usually write during that period, but that's because I like background noise. I like to listen to people talking. If there were like more coffee house noises, like people drinking and clinking of plates, I would probably be very productive, because I used to have when I worked my corporate job, I had every Friday off for 1 year. I took Fridays off. I actually wanted 1 day off a week because I just kind of was a little burnt out from the office. And they were like, well, I actually wanted Wednesday so I could do Monday and Tuesday. I could work and then work again Thursday and Friday and have this day off. And they're like, no. I was like, literally, I want to do Wednesday, if not Wednesday, Monday. And then Friday was my last choice. And they gave me Friday, which was really silly. But it's like, okay, whatever. I had a 3-day weekend with Friday. And I would go to Friday, I would go to a coffee house basically from like 9 to noon and do all my writing, which actually, I think I got a book done that year. And it worked. And I started like 2 or 3 other projects besides, but I found that a very productive period because I liked that background noise. Let's see. So I see stuff on Twitter where they do something similar. Yeah. So I'm wondering if they're using Twitter to post the link to wherever they're going to be doing it. Because I think another place they do them on is Discord. But Twitter, I'm not aware, has long videos where you could do that. But oh no, I take that back. I bet they do, but everybody's tweeting during the time. I could see that. So, because that's sometimes what'll happen on Facebook, and at least in the ones that I've been, this chat bar on the side ends up filling in with people talking. So, but yeah, I find if I can create some consistency, one of the writers that I follow will actually be on in like 10 minutes. She's called the Dawdling Writer, and she's on the East Coast. I think she's down in like the Southeast. I'm not sure exactly where, but she does write-ins every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I've sat in on hers a number of times, and it's 2 hours. So it's like 12 it's like 1 to 3 her time, but it's 12 to 2 my time. And so it's just 2 hours of writing. And I found really nice too, because she'll kind of do the writing time, then she'll talk a little bit. And every author I've noticed that does this has their own technique, and it's really you are watching them. One of the writers that I listened to, the Six Figure Author podcast that I listened to, one of the people they had on talked about your strengths. And one of it was some people like external motivators. So usually it's the author that's setting this. And because I'm basically writing in front of you and telling you what I'm going to do, that motivates me to get it done. And so that was one of the things I had set as a goal too, at the beginning of this year, was to go ahead and start doing write-ins. And I think I will. I did do a Final Friday push, I think it was called. I think that's what I called on Facebook the last Friday of the month. But I think I'm going to move it over to YouTube, just because that Facebook, I did it via StreamYard on Facebook, but it didn't seem to flow as well for me. So I may get less people, or if I do it on Facebook, I'm just going to do it Facebook live and not connect it with StreamYard, because I think that was probably a hindrance, doing it through StreamYard on Facebook. But I find doing it through StreamYard on YouTube is just fine. So it seems it's a format I'm familiar with, so I think that would probably work all right. So if anybody else have any questions? If not, I will probably wrap it. So those of you that are going to try and hit the Dawdling Writers live stream can do so, because that'll be starting in about 8 minutes. And I'd like to keep these under 30 minutes too, so people have time to watch them and then move on to something else. So if you didn't catch this whole video, you can totally go back to the beginning and catch it there. I will ask you to go ahead and hit the like button if you like the content. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because I usually do First Friday Lunch every month. And also I will usually post updates about what I'm writing. I will be doing around my release for The Widow Spy, I will be doing how I did that. I will most likely do that on Facebook, but I might have it here as First Friday Lunch in March, depending on where the time frame falls. So next month, we will be meeting. First Friday Lunch will be March 4th at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So go ahead and pencil me in for lunch.